Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are undertaking what might be our most structurally challenging deep dive yet.
I'd say so.
We're not just reviewing a film, we're analyzing this massive cultural pivot for what is, a long-running animated institution.
A real institution.
Exactly. We are plunging into the 2025 theatrical release, Crayon Shin-chan the Movie, super hot, the Spicy Kasukabe Dancers.
It's a fascinating one.
It really is. And our mission today, based on the review and your extremely detailed viewing notes, is to unpack a creative dilemma.
Right.
Why did a franchise built on, predictable suburban humor take this dramatic dance-centric risk, setting its 30-second film primarily in India?
And not just setting it there.
No! And this is the key thing. We need to analyze how that specific, ambitious choice, the heavy reliance on Bollywood-style musical numbers, directly affected your experience. Especially that note you made about the film's pacing.
Yeah, that's the core of it. This film really is a fascinating case study in how a franchise tries to evolve. As you said, it's the 30-second 2D movie, which just confirms the incredible staying power of this series.
It's amazing.
And the creative team is established.
Yeah.
Masakazu Hashimoto directing, Kimiko Ueno writing. These are known quantities.
Which makes the decision to just completely upend the formula so interesting.
Exactly. The structural departure here, it can't be overstated. It's not just the first major film in the series set almost entirely in India, but it uses dance and music as the primary drivers of the narrative. The conflict itself is musical.
So it's not a comedy adventure with some songs.
No, it's a full-blown musical spectacle with comedy and adventure elements. That changes everything. The pacing, the visual language, the whole thing.
That is a massive swing, tonally and geographically. You take the Kasukabe Defense Force, Shin-chan, Nene, Kazama, Mazao, Bochan,
The whole crew.
and you pull them out of their comfortable Saitama neighborhood and just drop them into a fictional Indian city for a dance festival. The sheer ambition of that, trying to integrate the Shin-chan aesthetic with, the visual language of Bollywood, it's kind of breathtaking.
And the sources really pick up on that. The visual novelty is the first thing everyone mentions.
An explosion of color, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The film trades those muted tones of suburban Japan for these incredibly vibrant settings. Rich tapestries, bustling, colorful markets.
So the animation style itself changes, or adapts.
It adapts. It keeps the signature Shin-chan look, of course.
Yeah.
But it's clearly inspired by real Indian locales. It creates this very dense, very festive atmosphere.
And that setting is really the key to the whole crossover, I'd imagine.
It is, because that's where the comedy comes from. It leans heavily on Shin-chan's usual thing, the misunderstandings, a kind of cross-cultural slapstick.
Okay, but let's pause there, because the ambition is one thing, but the sources were, let's say, not uniformly thrilled with the humor.
That's a good way to put it.
The film uses a lot of classic Shin-chan gags, but specifically food-related ones centered on curry.
Yes, the curry jokes.
Right. And while some saw it as just lighthearted fun, wasn't there a pretty significant criticism that it felt a little reductive, maybe even lazy?
That is absolutely correct. The film's cultural game plan gets called a double-edged sword for precisely that reason. The novelty is great for fans looking for something new, but then the humor relies on these very broad cultural tropes.
So the visuals are ambitious, but the jokes are maybe a bit simple?
For some viewers, yes. If you're going to celebrate a culture through dance, the humor needs to feel just as nuanced. And for some, it just missed that mark.
Okay, and then amidst all this, the plot takes a very Shin-chan turn.
A classically surreal turn. The whole hook is that the quietest one, Bochan, gets a mysterious and frankly silly-looking nose-shaped backpack.
A nose-shaped backpack?
In India, yes.
Of course. Only in this universe could that be the catalyst for, global chaos.
Pretty much. But it's not just a gag. This backpack transforms Bochan into a powerful, chaos-threatening alter ego they call Bokun.
So that's the core conflict.
That's the conflict. And it's what makes the film so structurally complex. Yeah. It's merging the slapstick with genuine adventure, fantasy, and, serious stakes tied to this identity shift.
And this is where the musical numbers come in.
Exactly. It forces you to accept that the songs aren't just interludes. They are the actual language of the conflict. The film fully commits. The rhythm and the spectacle of the dance define the emotional stakes of this whole Bokon crisis.
Which brings us to what is, for me, the most fascinating choice they made.
I agree.
Centering the entire emotional story on Bochan. That was the biggest surprise from all the material.
It's a huge risk.
He's the quiet one.
Ah,
His main job is usually just standing there with a runny nose.
right.
And now he's thrust into the absolute center of everything, wrestling with this dark, powerful persona. It gives the film this emotional gravity that's so unusual for the franchise.
It grounds the entire spectacle. I think that's the key. All the color, the dancing, the chaos, it all comes back to this surprisingly deep look at Boken's identity and his friendship with the group.
So that character arc was a highlight for reviewers.
It was the highlight for many. They said it's what elevated the plot beyond just a standard movie of the year for the series.
So the writers, Hashimoto and Ueno, they used a character dynamic to justify the whole genre pivot.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
To get the audience invested in a Bollywood dance battle, you need real emotional stakes. And who better to provide that than the character who never speaks?
Yeah.
His transformation is instantly powerful.
So even with all this new stuff, it still feels like Shin-chan.
Oh, absolutely. While Bo-chan is having his existential crisis, you still have all the classic Misei and Hiroshi antics, signature Shin-chan humor.
And I'm guessing plenty of nosedives.
Plenty of nosegags. It balances the dramatic weight with the irreverent familiarity that fans expect. It's a delicate act.
Okay, now this is where we need to shift.
Mhm.
From the creative choices to the audience experience, specifically your experience, because you put a note in your material about nearly drifting off in the theater, finding parts of it, especially the musical bits, to be sluggish.
Yes. And that feedback, it's not unique to me. It's actually a really wide consensus among viewers who are used to the pacing of, well, Japanese anime comedy.
The rapid-fire pacing.
Exactly. When you look at the structural critiques, the pacing is the #1 issue people bring up. The core story itself, if you strip away the spectacle, is arguably simpler than some of the other Shin-chan movies.
Meaning the musical numbers had to carry a lot of the runtime and the tension.
They had to. And that's the fundamental clash right there.
Go on.
Classic Shin-chan pacing is built on quick gags, fast dialogue, constant forward momentum.
Right.
But when you inject a full-scale Bollywood number, which structurally needs, 5 or 6 minutes, where the plot just stops for the performance.
You're slamming the brakes on that traditional pace.
Completely. And for viewers who aren't expecting a musical or just aren't as engaged by that style, those moments feel like they're meandering.
Even if they're visually stunning.
Even then, they interrupt the narrative engine. It slows down the build-up, and it creates that exact feeling of inertia you described in the middle of the film.
It's a structural dissonance.
Perfectly put. The bold Bollywood integration is the film's visual strength, its unique selling point. But it's also its narrative weakness, at least for an audience expecting a fast adventure story.
It's asking you to watch a stage show instead of an action movie.
In a way, yes. It's asking you to accept that the plot is temporarily suspended for the performance, which is a different kind of storytelling contract.
And that explains the mixed reviews.
It explains it perfectly. Sources like Rotten Tomatoes, reflecting a lot of international critics, called the film far from perfect. They pointed to the simple story and, yeah, sometimes the cultural portrayal we talked about.
So the scores were just middling.
Leaned middling, suggesting it didn't have that universal appeal, but the box office tells a very different story.
Domestically, right?
Domestically. In Japan, it had a strong opening, made a lot of money, and had really solid audience satisfaction reports.
Interesting. So at home, the risks paid off.
It seems so. The home audience knows and trusts the franchise enough to follow it anywhere, even into a musical. Internationally, the expectations are, well, a little less forgiving.
Context is everything.
And for international reception, we have to talk about the dub quality. This came up a lot in online comments.
Oh, that's a great point.
With a film that relies so heavily on musical performance and cultural nuance, the quality of the international language tracks is critical.
A bad dub could completely kill it.
It could undermine the entire spectacle. Turn this ambitious experiment into just a slow kids movie.
So bringing this all together,
Yeah.
what does this all mean for you, the listener, who brought us this material?
I think ultimately the film is a successful, festive cultural experiment. It really deserves a lot of credit for its creative bravery. It was deliberately pushing the boundaries of what a Crayon Shin-chan movie can even be.
It's a statement about the franchise being willing to evolve.
Absolutely.
And it does honor Shin-chan's quirky spirit, but it forces the viewer to make a choice. It prioritizes emotional depth and musical rhythm over traditional narrative speed.
A very deliberate choice.
So for viewers open to that kind of musical world building, it sounds like the film works beautifully. It feels unique.
But for fans, perhaps like yourself, who are really dedicated to that classic brisk, joke-a-minute pacing.
It's going to feel inconsistent.
It's almost guaranteed to feel inconsistent. And that perfectly explains your experience with those slower middle sections. The film asks you to swap one kind of enjoyment for another.
That makes so much sense.
And that leaves us with one final provocative thought. It's all built around Bo-chan's transformation.
The emotional anchor.
The anchor. The creators intentionally use the emotional journey of this quiet, iconic character as the vehicle for the entire cultural spectacle. And it makes you wonder, does the franchise now believe that to get high emotional stakes, to get real character development, you have to sacrifice the comedic pacing that made you famous?
Was the emotional depth they got from Bo-chan's arc worth the narrative cost of those slower musical detours?
That's the question, and it's a tension that, for me, makes this deep dive unforgettable.
That is a wonderful summary of the tension at the heart of this movie. Thank you so much for sharing your sources and ear with us. This really wouldn't have been possible without your insights on your own viewing experience. Got any thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions or favorite moments in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more reviews and content on the latest news, movies, dramas, and books. And hit the bell icon so you won't miss any new updates.